Today on Joe's Geek Show, we're going to be talking about the brand new Mortal Kombat movie. What's going on, and welcome to Joe's Geek Show, the video series where we talk comics, except for this time where we're talking about a movie. And if you're new and like to support the channel, you can do so by hitting that like button, clicking that subscribe button, and sharing. And with that, Mortal Kombat! I'm sorry, I will never do that again. So Mortal Kombat is a movie released by Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema and is the first live-action Mortal Kombat movie we've had since 1997's Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Because that movie was so bad, it put the entire film franchise in the vault for the past 13 years. And this movie seeks to tell the story of Cole Young, a washed-up mixed martial arts fighter who gets thrust into the mystical and magical world of Mortal Kombat. Along the way, he meets several Mortal Kombat characters, including the Earthrealm fighters consisting of Sonya Blade, Jax, Liu Kang, Kung Lao, and Kano. And together, this group has to band together to defeat the forces of Outworld. Because as is explained in the movie, the forces of Outworld want to invade the Earthrealm, but to do so, they have to win 10 straight victories in Mortal Kombat.
They have won 9. This will be the 10th tournament.
It's just not in this movie. Yeah, a movie called Mortal Kombat omits the Mortal Kombat portion of the story. Because in essence, this isn't a straight retelling of the first Mortal Kombat tournament. It's actually more of a prequel. It's all of the setup with characters getting introduced. You're supposed to get the backstories, understand the threat. Pretty much a whole lot of exposition with some fight scenes thrown in. And I gotta say, it's bold, but does it work? Well, the answer to that is kinda. Because for some of the positives that I can definitely say about this movie, I really love the fight scenes. They're generally fast-paced, really exciting, and most notably, we actually have fatalities in this movie. That's right, a Mortal Kombat movie that's got its R rating, that one piece that was just missing from the 1995 film. It's here and in spades. They're gruesome, they're bloody, and I love every single second of them. So much to the point that I wish the movie had more of them. Because as this movie nears closer to the end, the fight scenes become a lot quicker and really then start to kind of intercut with each other, making them go by faster and unfortunately ending quicker. I can also say that I really enjoyed the opening of this movie, which is the origin of Hanzo Hasashi, aka Scorpion. Because it really was this opening that was leading me to believe that I was in for a spectacular Mortal Kombat movie. Then the movie started. Sorta. Because when you get into the stuff with Cole and his entire character, it is just not that interesting. Something that I can kind of say about the majority of the characters is that outside of a select few, the vast majority of them are kind of bland. Most of the characters deliver their lines in these seminal, flat, monotone deliveries that just don't convey any real sense of urgency or depth of character. But like I said, there are some exceptions, like Kano. Because the minute Kano gets into this movie, it does get a bit more fun, but only when he's around. Because he just has this very animated way of delivering his lines, and he's just very loud and obnoxious, and is a stark contrast to all of the other characters and actors in the movie. It's because most everyone else is so flat that he's able to pop more and essentially steal every single scene that he's in. Which can both be a plus and a minus, because on one hand, while he adds some liveliness to the scenes, if he was removed, I don't think I would have cared for really any of the other characters. The other notable exceptions are, of course, Scorpion and Sub-Zero, but Scorpion really only pops up as Hanzo Hasashi at the beginning and as Scorpion at the end, and Sub-Zero is used a little more predominantly throughout the film, but unless he's having interactions with Scorpion, he's just kind of there to look cool. which was a bit of a shame because the cast from the original 1995 movie had such charisma and a lot of chemistry between each other that made them really fun to watch. And while this cast is made up of predominantly, I'd say, fairly competent actors, they really do lack that chemistry and charisma that I was sort of wanting them to have. Even with Cole's family, like, I understand they're there for him to care about, for us to, as the audience, to understand the stakes of the Mortal Kombat tournament and what it could mean if Outworld wins. But at the end of the day, they were just as uninteresting, and until Cole, would reference his family and stuff, I would usually forget they were in the movie. They really were there just to motivate Cole into finding his Arcana so he could beat Goro. Speaking of, let's talk about that a little bit. So in the context of the Mortal Kombat universe, we have characters that essentially defy the laws of nature. You got guys that shoot fireballs, can shoot icicles, can suck souls, and all of these other crazy, impossible feats. And generally within Mortal Kombat, it's gone unexplained because we just accept it. But here, this movie attempts to give an explanation to these powers, and that's Arcana, which is a fighter's inner light that will manifest itself in some sort of physical power. And it's something that can only be done if you have the dragon tattoo or dragon birthmark, which sounds interesting until you get into the logistics of the dragon mark itself. Because as it's stated, the Mortal Kombat dragon mark is essentially your invitation to participate in Mortal Kombat. And this is something that either gets passed down to you via your bloodline, or you have to kill another fighter in order to take theirs. Which all sounds well and good, until you start to think about it. For one, we only see Earthrealm fighters have these tattoos. Because I caught myself asking the questions of, does Outworld go through the same process? Does Cabal, Melina, Nitara, Rico, do they have the dragon marks? If Outworld has their marks, are they interchangeable with Earthrealmers? And if the Outworld fighters don't have any marks, that means they get to select their own fighters, whereas Earthrealm warriors are essentially left to chance? I mean, how's that fair if that's the case? Because really, with the way it's explained and described, let's say you had a character, like hundreds of years ago that had the Mortal Kombat tattoo, and they just lived out their bloodline without ever participating in a single tournament, and you got to present day, and of course, the sedentary lifestyle takes some of the families and whatnot, and for all we know, we could have an overweight 40-year-old balding man named Bob with one of these marks. I mean, you're really gonna take Big Bob and you're gonna put him in a ring with one of the Outworld fighters. In essence, figuring that it kind of, leads you to believe why we're probably losing so much. I mean, Shang Tsung admits to cheating, but at the same time, when you have the odds stacked against Earthrealm like this, he almost doesn't really need to cheat. And also, why is Raiden kind of useless in this movie? Because when all of the Earthrealm warriors, or what's left of them, go to Raiden's temple to begin their training and whatnot, and of course, Shang Tsung shows up with his posse and is like, alright, we're here to just kill all of you and end this whole thing right now. It kind of adds insult to injury when Raiden reveals that not only can he teleport all the Earthrealm warriors into this pocket dimension that Shang Tsung and everybody, like all the other like realms and Outworld and stuff, they can't get to it. Like, why not take all of the Earthrealm warriors, collect them up, and put them into this dimension to train? And then on top of that, revealing that Raiden can go ahead and just teleport anyone anywhere, because he's the one that pits all of the Earthrealm warriors against the Outworld fighters during the climax of the movie, of course. And even at the end, once Scorpion and Cole had taken out Sub-Zero, Raiden just pretty much flicks his finger and makes Shang Tsung go away. Like, you're telling me that when Outworld's fighters like showed up at the temple, Raiden couldn't have just sent them away at any time. I mean, there is a section in the movie where it almost sounds like Raiden wanted it to kind of happen in order to force Cole to reveal his Arcana or unlock his Arcana, which was a really big gamble, because if that's the case, Raiden essentially caused the death of Kung Lao, you know, or Earthrealm's best fighter. I mean, we saw the training and all that stuff. I mean, I was fairly convinced that Kung Lao was the best fighter in the Raiden. Yeah, kind of useless, and the Elder Gods kind of suck. Oh, and then I'm also throwing out there that Cole's literal superpower is plot armor. Yeah, that's just the story in itself. There's just so many other things about this movie that I just couldn't help but notice. Like, for one, it really does seem like a lot of this movie got cut out, meaning it could be quite possible we could be seeing a director's cut. Because throughout the movie, there's all these like conversations and tidbits going on, and I'm thinking, okay, yeah, what is going on with that? Because when Melina questions Shang Tsung about attacking all the Earthrealm fighters, and she's like, yeah, what about the Elder Gods? And Shang Tsung says, don't worry about the Elder Gods, I've got that on lockdown. Okay, how is that? We saw that the Elder Gods didn't reprimand Shang Tsung and his warriors in any way for attacking the Earthrealm fighters. So what did he do? Goro kind of feels like he was supposed to be built up a little bit more than he was, because all we really got was like the shadow with the forearms, and that was kind of it. Next time we see him, he's in full CGI half dude dragon mode. Definitely feels like the Outworld stuff as a whole had just a bit more filling to it. Also, going back to the whole chosen fighter thing, it's really strange that if Outworld manages to kill all the Earthrealm combatants, then they somehow can't select new warriors, but when all of the Outworld fighters died, Shang Tsung was just like, it's cool, man, I can get more. It's a thought I had, I just wanted to throw it out there. And overall, the story just came off as less of a standalone movie and just more as a prequel set up for the next movie. Which the entire time I was watching this movie, I kept thinking to myself, yeah, I want to see the next movie, like, not in like 3 years, like, I want to see the next movie now. I want to see the tournament, because the fight sequences were fun. I liked when they paired off one-on-one. That's the movie I want to see in a Mortal Kombat movie. And in essence, kind of came off a bit like Tom Cruise's The Mummy, which was made not to be a standalone piece per se, but to set up a universe. I get the exact same feeling with this Mortal Kombat movie, where of course it's meant to set up a universe, and I mean, there's a ton of Easter eggs in this movie that's just chock full of Mortal Kombat lore, and that tells me that, yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff coming down the pipeline, like when we're getting all of the exposition via Sonya to Cole, and you know, we see, you know, things like, you know, Nightwolf, and then we get into the temple, and you know, there's pictures of like Great Kung Lao, Kotal Khan. We even got to see Shinnok's amulet, which Kano put into his pocket, and Liu Kang then of course told him to put it back, and Kano played dumb, and then it was just kind of never brought up again. Shinnok's amulet is a very important artifact. I don't think it was just forgotten. Potentially just another small chunk of the movie missing. But back on track, you know, seeing all of the Easter eggs in this movie and whatnot reminded me of Tom Cruise in The Mummy, when he's just walking through Dr. Jekyll's like lab, and we saw, you know, the head with the vampire teeth, and what was it, like the fin or claw of like the creature from the Black Lagoon, and just a whole bunch of, that's gonna be a movie, that's gonna be a movie, that's gonna be a movie, whereas this was all future movie, future movie, future movie, future movie. And in the end, what happened to The Mummy? Yeah, no more Dark Universe. And part of me is kind of worried that the same thing might happen here, because especially for me personally, because of the promise of something better, something bigger, something greater coming down the pipeline in, you know, most likely the sequel with the Mortal Kombat tournament, this film left me with a very unsatisfied feeling. So again, I do want to stress that this movie does have a lot of very high points, you know, that has to do mostly with like the action and the blood and gore and stuff. And yeah, I do like the lore when they do get to that part. But the story, characterizations, and pacing really do work against all the good things in this movie. Which, when all said and done, I can say that I had a bit of an average experience. I didn't hate the movie, but I didn't love the movie. I can watch the movie again for the fight scenes, but definitely not for the story. Whereas in the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie, I really enjoyed the aspects of that movie all round. And that's not a perfect movie either, but I think serves itself better and is a little more digestible. So is this movie worth watching? Yes. I do think that the movie is worth at least a view. Do I think it's better than the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie? No, I don't. But I do think it is definitely better than Mortal Kombat Annihilation. So if you are a really huge Mortal Kombat fan, you may have fun with it. For the casual moviegoer, I could see it going either way for you. And for those that have seen it, what did you think about Mortal Kombat 2021? Did you like it? Did you not? Please tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you liked this video, I'd love it if you'd smash that like button, share it with some friends, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and ring that notification bell for more comic book content. And if you're wondering what to watch next, consider one of these 2 videos. Alright, take care, have a great day, and as always, stay geeky.